Navigating Diaspora Dynamics. Global Jamaica Diaspora Council challenges electoral norms in unexpected ways. Navigating Diaspora Dynamics. A critical look at government influence in electoral processes. Exploring the complexities of diaspora representation and government influence in community councils.
Some of you know her. She is a wonderful person from what I've been told. We've never met. I'm told that she's in the fashion industry, big time fashion person, and that she's also involved in other facets of social and business life. And she's also a candidate in the upcoming Global Jamaica Diaspora Council election. And she decided to come on and grace us with her presence and give us have a little talk. It's nothing controversial, just a talk about who she is and her aspirations, her hopes, her goals, and what she plans to do, not only in the fashion industry, but also with representing people in the Northeast. And so we thank her for coming, and we want to welcome her. So Hope, without further ado, or people without further ado, please welcome Ms. Hope Wade. Hope, how are you?
Thank you for having me.
Good. We've heard so much about you. And we're so happy that you've decided to come on. I don't know, have you ever watched our program? Tell me yes, please.
Yes.
Is that because I said tell me yes, or is it?
Yes. No, I think I've watched your program before.
No,
so
if you say you think,
no. But in
Hope,
terms of saying,
No, Hope, let me put you on the spotlight. Hope.
Go ahead.
Hope, if you say yes, you watched it. I think I've watched it before, then you haven't.
I think, listen, you have to understand, by virtue of the profession I'm in, a lot of times I'm interviewed or people ask me to watch a program that they are on. So it's possible that I have. I don't want to say no, but you said say yes. So I was being obedient and say yes.
All right. Here's why I said to you that if you say you think, if you say I think I watched it, then you haven't, because this program is an unforgettable program. Once you've been on this program, you never forget it. It's an experience.
All right. Well, I'll never forget because I'm on the program now.
All right, good. I tell you what,
yes.
Before we start, can you please just tell us who is, for the people who don't know who you are, just tell us who you are, where you went to school, and how you end up being where you are.
End up being where I'm as a designer?
Yes, and as a designer, yeah.
Okay.
And
all right, so my name is Hope Wade. I am a fashion designer. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and I attended Alpha Academy. Then I migrated for school. I was a foreign student and came here, went to New York City Technical College, and then I went to Cooper Union College on a full scholarship. Then I was recruited, because of the college I attended, I was recruited for this particular job at this company. And after a couple months, they sent me to Chicago to do a trade show. I was very successful, and so the president told my boss that he wanted me to be trained in this particular direction. And after a couple months, my boss called me into his office and he said, look, the home I live in and the car I drive, they're all from the company, and the vacation. And I'm thinking, who cares? And he said, they're grooming you for my job. You're fired. And
wow.
It was no, #me too at the time. So a couple months later, the church I attended at the time had a big New Year's Eve event, and they said we had to dress formally. Now, I just lost my job, and literally about maybe 2 months before, I just bought a new car. So now I don't have any money to say buy a new dress or whatever. So in desperation, I made a dress. And then when I went, my girlfriends were like, I thought he said you weren't going to buy anything. I said, no, I made this.
Wow.
And so I had to go in the bathroom and show them inside out. And they were like, ew. But then they started ordering clothes for me. And that's literally how I became a fashion designer. So that, in a nutshell, is basically how I started. In terms of...
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Because the way it sounds to me, it sounds like you would be the perfect candidate for FIT. Did you ever consider going to FIT?
No, I went to Cooper Union, and I did
graphic design. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I know Cooper Union. That's a pretty exclusive school. I know Cooper Union. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I mean, in terms of, it's so funny because can I tell you that this week someone asked me about thinking about teaching at FIT, and I'm like, I don't think so. But I mean, I have my own store now, and it's situated in Nyack, New York. But in terms of accolades per se, I received a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award last year, the year before. I was the president of JAMCAR, which is Jamaica Civic and Cultural Association of Rockland. I'm presently the president of Alpha Tri-State Alumni Association. I sit on the board of Cooper Union and the Alumni Association, and also ACOR, which is Arts Council of Rockland. So I have my hand here, there, do a few little things. And I'm also the owner and producer of Rockland Fashion Week. It's a highly successful event that brings in like between 300 to 400 people every year. We do a big show, and it's basically showcasing about 12 to 14 designers. And we have entertainment. As a matter of fact, we always have our entertainers come from through VP Records. But that's what I do. And how did I end up here? Because CG Alcyon and I were pretty close. And she called me 3 weeks before she passed. And she said, Hope, I would like you to run for this position. And I'm like, what position is this? And she explained briefly. And I said, but hold on. She said, you'd be the perfect person. I said, but where are you right now? And she said, I'm in the hospital. I'm just about to get my new set of treatments. And I'm like, you're thinking about me run for a position when, you know? But that is how Alcyon was. She just could not stop working. This is somebody who was just tied to the belt of work, you know? So anyway, this is how I end up being where I am right now. And so thank you for even interviewing me.
All right. Well, do I call you Miss Wade now? Because now that you give me all of them accolades, I guess
I'm
I have to do
married.
some
I'm
checking.
Mrs. Wade, yes. I have
So
a
Mrs. Wade, call
husband
you
and
I'm
a
call
daughter.
Mrs. Wade or Hope, or what do you want
Yeah,
to
you
call
can
it?
call me Hope, man. This is Mrs. Wade
Hope.
business.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you say Rockland, you're talking about Rockland County, New York, right?
Yes.
Okay. What because you know the fashion thing, usually they have a fashion thing down by Bryant Park. It's a fashion week. They have
Fashion week, yes.
yeah. So I'm wondering, what are your aspirations? Is it just to stay in Rockland or somehow
No,
just
I've done Caribbean Fashion Week like 4 or 5 times. I've done London Fashion Week and I've done New York Fashion Week. In terms of just being here in Rockland, I used to live in when I came here first, I lived in Brooklyn, and then we moved to the Bronx. And my sister and I, we moved to Rockland County. Then I got married, and yeah, but I mean, by virtue of what I do, I'm all over the place. I was in Jamaica 3 times this year. As a matter of fact, I am on the advisory board of the Montego Bay Community College, their fashion department. So I've been in Jamaica 3 times this year. I was in Florida doing a show, Maryland. So you name it, I'm all over the place.
all
But in
right.
terms of, I don't think I'm moving from Rockland anytime soon.
Rockland's a nice place. I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's close to up by Bear Mountain, right?
Yes.
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 I'm very, very familiar with that area. Professor.
Greetings, Hope. How you doing?
Greetings, Mr. Professor.
Kevin is fine. Kevin is fine.
Kevin, okay, all right.
Seeing that you went to my sister's school, I
Alpha?
already feel like yes.
Oh, what year was she?
No. My sister, my alma
Oh,
mater sister.
you're St. George's?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
yes, I am proudly so.
Thank you. You should be. We love our
Right.
Georges, man. We love St. George's, yes.
Yes, that is it. That is it. Say it loud. So, what got you? You said you made a dress out of necessity. Was fashion a thing that you were always into
No,
as you were growing up?
no.
What
My
got you into it?
my mother was a teacher, Mrs. Blake at Central Branch Primary School. And her mother sewed, and my mom, like her friends would gather and they'd be going over these patterns. So what happened? I was, like I said, when I came here first for school, I was a foreign student, and so my mom visited me like 3 months for the year, like between I think was like say June and then September she'd go home. So she bought a sewing machine, and she'd, sew. But I was never interested. I mean, that was just too complicated. But then in desperation, I called and I said, look, could you please tell me how to use this machine? Because I can't afford to buy a gown. And she basically, walked me through how to string the stuff. And then a friend of mine that I went to Cooper Union with, he's now a professor at Syracuse. But he came to tell me that he was actually going to Syracuse to do his master's. And I was like, you know what, James, you skinny, maybe I could make a dress on you. And he was like, Hope, do you know I'm a man? I was like, it don't matter, I won't tell nobody. So I used him as my mannequin. So because now remember, I was a graphic artist, I could actually do a straight line. I just couldn't sew it. So it was the inside out was horrible. Trust me when I say so. But the outside looks, pretty decent. Cause then my girlfriend started ordering clothes from me. So that's it. And then what I used to do to make a pattern, I would look at the girl and say, okay, both of us look like about the same dimensions, right? And then I would just put newspaper, tape them together, lie down, cut out my body, and figure out if she's a little larger or small. And that's basically how I started, you know. And so
Okay.
today I have a gown in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum that Darlene Love wore on the David Letterman show. So it kind of worked out a little bit for me.
Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So you weren't looking to go the fashion design world. You were looking to go more graphic design.
Yes, yes. I mean, I was
Okay.
thinking when I came here first for school, I thought I'd be working in front of a camera because I was an actress in Jamaica, you know, did a pantomime and a couple plays and stuff like that. So I just thought that, you know, that was what graphic design was until, of course, I came here and realized, okay, it's different. But I enjoyed what I did. I had a pretty good portfolio. So, yeah, totally different. Totally different. I was not interested in fashion in terms of being a designer or anything like that.
Okay. So now here you are doing your thing, making a dress here and there, a couple of pieces, have a piece in the Hall of Fame, and you get a call, Council General, saying, "Hey, got a job for you." First thought, other than where are you now? Why are you thinking
Well, the
about this
first
money?
thought was,
For
hold on,
you.
isn't that Karine Dunkley? And just, you know, because I know Karine said, yeah, well, our term is up. And I go, okay. And honestly, I never thought of doing something like that. Never thought of, and I wouldn't say I had no interest because when I'm a part of UJA because of being the president of Alpha Tri-State Alumni as well as JAMCA at the time. And so I remember when the time came for Karine Dunkley that the UJA had made a presentation and there was some controversy related to the person who was before her. So that's how come I knew anything about the position. But in terms of actually thinking of putting my hat in the ring, or I just admired Karine because I mean she's a very brilliant woman and she has done a lot, very influential in the field that she's in. And a couple times that I actually asked her as president of Jamcar to come to our events and, you know, make a short speech or something. But to be honest, in terms of, wow, global diaspora, no, it was not something that I was thinking of. But like you said, like the first thought that came to my mind was, this is Karine's position. And then I did a little research and I had to talk to the CRO, Christopher Benjamin, say exactly what is this thing that's, you know, that's in a capsulated way. So yeah, it's
Okay.
nothing that I think most of the positions in life that I've had, they all come with a story. It wasn't like a straight route, you know, just to
Correct.
say this is what I want and stuff like that. So
Okay. So what is your understanding after talking with the CRO? What is your understanding of the position?
the position holds a significant and influential position in the sense that you're actually advocating for Jamaicans who are living abroad and also working with not complete with the Jamaican government, but with the student body. In other words, bringing this is just my interpretation, right? Bringing the Jamaicans here and collaborate with the Jamaican in Jamaica itself and see how we can work together, how we can, for example, promote financial literacy, scholarships, stuff like that. That is what my understanding is. I would be the representative.
Okay. If you get the job, you have a plan on how you're gonna do that?
If I have of course, I always have a plan. I always have a plan. Well, okay, so based on my knowledge, education, experience, and my personality, I think one of the things that would be key to me would be to actually sit with Karine and say, okay, fine, what are the pros and cons of this job? Especially now that Jamaica has been through Hurricane Melissa, and we know the devastation, and now Jamaica needs representation in every area. I mean, all eyes are on the country, as well as even you as a Jamaican here. If I go to a meeting and I just say, look, you know, ladies or gentlemen, you know, have you considered giving to Jamaica? The first thing they'll say is, well, can we drop off clothes by your store? Or, you know, I have the ear of the people here that I'm involved with. But in terms of what would I do, my first, say, okay, foot on the ground would be to actually speak to Karine and, of course, be introduced to the relevant people that I know that I'll be working with.
As it relates to how the organization is run now, how the Diaspora Council is run now, are you looking to, is there anything that you see that you could say, boy, you know what, I'll do this a little bit differently?
Well, I haven't looked into that much, honestly. What I've been doing is, like I said, I did my little research, and then
Uh-huh.
as I started looking at the persons who were there before me, So I don't know. I don't know exactly how the meetings work. I just have an idea. I think I just put my name in like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So I'm not gonna sit on and pretend like, yeah, I did all this research. What I do know is that I was asked to think or consider a position. I've done some research. I have my core values, my core priorities, which I'm sure I'll bring to the table, and I do have experience in the sense that even in being the president of Jamcar, where we've given out over $750,000 in scholarships, being the president of Alpha Tri-State, going to Jamaica, dealing with the students, what are your needs? So I'm almost doing the same thing and being even with on the Montego Bay Community College, their fashion advisory board, I'm actually doing almost the same thing in a smaller capacity, so the fact that I believe in Jamaica, I believe in the Jamaicans here, and of course, based on again the kind of work I do, there's a melting pot of the different Caribbean islands and stuff. So I know that in terms of advocating, even for something like STEM, advocating for certain things that I believe in, I think I'll be instrumental in getting things done. And sometimes humility can be a good key to open more doors that even experience sometimes.
Do you think that the organization is more along the lines of serving Jamaicans in the diaspora or Jamaicans back home?
I mean, it's a global, I think it serves the Jamaicans here more because remember, most Jamaicans, when they come here, especially, we all know what the political atmosphere is like now. And Jamaicans are willing to invest in the country. Sometimes they don't have all the information to make the connections, but I think that Jamaicans here need a representation more. It could be, I would say, more like a 60-40. I mean, one of the things that CG has done is open a pathway where more Jamaicans are interested in investing in Jamaica, interested in getting scholarships to Jamaica than before. And so I think I'd be a good tool in terms of a liaison between both. But I think I think I'm more representing the diaspora here.
So, in representing the diaspora here in the Northeast, what kind of services is it that you'd be looking to provide? What kind of aid? How would you be meeting the needs of the diaspora?
Okay, let's just talk about scholarships.
Okay.
So I have experience in that portfolio. So scholarships are also one of the things that's important to me. I mean, I have a daughter who was born here, and it's important to me that that I preserve the Jamaican identity to the next generation and the next generation, right? So sorry, 1 second. So for me, I think it's important that scholarships are become a priority because education is a major tool. It doesn't matter what background you're from, high income, low income, in between. What education does, it opens doors that allows others to come in. So in terms of scholarships, I think I'll be one of those persons who would be pushing for scholarships. We have a lot of our industries here, companies here that Jamaicans are a part of, but they've never really given to the island or given to us as much as they could. So I think that as a representative, that I'll be able to be in that space in terms of investments. I think that a lot of Jamaicans are very leery about investing because if they're not home, they feel like if you're not physically there to see your money move from one spot to the next, you're just going to get ripped off. I think the more education that we have in terms of investing in the country, buying properties, real estate, I think that I can be a person who can explain and be an advocate for that.
Are you familiar with the Jamaican government's involvement in the Diaspora Council?
I know that that's a part of. I know that's a part of the diaspora. I know the government has to be involved because you have to give a report to the government as to what you do. Yes, I do. I know that much. Yes, but in terms of like how deeply involved, I'm not sure.
So, for you personally, you're okay with working for the Jamaican government in this capacity?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Jamaican government is instrumental in just about anything that has to do with even in terms of the prime minister coming here. If you're not not gonna be involved in the what the government is doing, then what's the point? Not every position. It's not a non-profit not a non-profit organization. It's an organization that's based off the Jamaican government, their involvement in the diaspora here and there. So therefore, I have no problem with that. I don't think I have to be a political person in terms of saying, well, I'm a PNP or I'm a JLP or I don't believe in this and that. Like you're representing a significant and influential set of people, and there are laws and there are rules that the government has. So you have to work with the government. Yes, I don't think I have to be a politician, to work with the government.
Well, not work with the government, but work for the government.
And I work for the government. Yes, I mean,
Okay.
at the end of the day,
So,
right? At the end of the day, when you want to serve, your people, at some point you have to get involved. Not just in small things or large. You have to get involved. At some point, they're gonna have to be a part of the government, But I don't think that it's a position where I have to say I am for this party or whatever. Whoever the ruling government is, that's who you work with.
And is there anything that you would do differently from how it is being run now?
I can't honestly say yes. Like I said, I'm just starting to really read upon the position and see. And there are some things that I understand that's controversial. And I mean, there's something that's controversial, but like anything else, I believe that sometimes a personality can make a difference in terms of how things move.
Yes. Have you gotten a chance to look at the terms of references
In terms of what? You have to clarify that.
for the Global Jamaica Diaspora?
You mean what is
There are
required?
terms of references. The Jamaica for the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. There are terms of references. Have you got a chance to look at it?
I mean, you have to clarify. I don't have my
Sorry.
everything in front of me.
Wait.
But example.
Let me. Am I going, Kevin? Hello, Kevin.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. You still getting that?
I think there's an issue.
You're still
coming
getting that
in and
info?
Go ahead. I'm gonna jump back in. Go ahead. I'm gonna jump out and come back in. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, Hope. There's a time, right? One time somebody told me about a job and I said, okay, fine. And I applied for the job. And what happened is that they didn't tell me a lot about the job. They just say, here's a job that I think you'd be good at. And I went for the interview and I didn't do well. And part of that was because they didn't tell me and I didn't take the time and effort and go to see what was this job all about. Now, as I'm listening to you, you mentioned that the CG said that it would be a good job for you. And I have no doubt that she truly believed that. But I hear Kevin ask you about the terms of reference. And the terms of reference is actually the working document that sets out the rules and the responsibilities for the members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. I don't know if the CG mentioned it to you, but she should have. Then there's another document, and it's called the diaspora policy. And the policy is the government's position on the diaspora. The terms of reference is how the diaspora should interact with its members and the government. And let me show you it to you. This is it. It is right here. This is a document, the terms of reference that he was mentioning.
Okay.
To you. And let me take this down because I want to show you. I want to have a discussion with you and then show you some things in here. The term diaspora is a very simple term. It simply means people living away from their home country, live outside the country. And this organization is called the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. But when you look at the policy, and I'll show you the policy as well, the primary purpose of the policy is for the diaspora to assist with the national development of Jamaica. People in the diaspora, they say it right there, they say it in a few places. When you look at how it's practiced, it's about the government of Jamaica. And then you say to yourself, then how can a diaspora organization be looking out for the national interest of Jamaica at the expense of its members, the people living in the diaspora? And one of the questions I've asked former and even the current representative of the Northeast is, how many Jamaicans have you helped to seek shelter? People who are homeless or people who are in shelters, how many of them have you helped? How many of them have you helped with immigration problem? How many of them have you helped with medical problems? How many of them have you helped with them trying to access social services in the Northeast and they don't know where to turn? How many of them have you really helped? Because what I hear is And you said it, that you'd be working for the Jamaican government. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If it's a diaspora organization, there's certain things that you attach to a diaspora organization. For one, a diaspora organization, and we did the research, a diaspora organization, by its very nature, is supposed to be looking out for the people it represents. So when we looked at the Nigerian diaspora organization, we looked at the Irish diaspora organization, and we looked at a bunch of them, one of the things we found was a complete separation from government. There's a bridge, but in this case, with the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, what we're seeing is that the Jamaican government is overarching. It's on top of that organization. And by the way, it doesn't call itself an organization. It calls itself a movement. And we're saying, if you're truly interested in dealing with Jamaica, then what you should do is make it a 501c3 charitable organization so that you can actually raise funds. And there are things that you can do that you cannot do as a movement. For one, you can't raise money as a movement, because if you do and you're sending money to Jamaica, you now subject yourself to the Foreign Agents Registration Act, meaning that you have to register with the Department of Justice. So let me show you. It becomes
complicated.
Yes. So I'm surprised that they didn't share all of this with you. But let me show you something. Why? Here we go. First thing I want to show you, and by the way, this, what I'm showing you, this is the second iteration. They did one, and for some reason, they updated it. Now, look at this.
I have to make it. Okay, fine.
Can you see this? All right, Roman numeral 6. It says, it is important to know that the council is not an arm of the government of Jamaica. It's not an arm of the government of Jamaica. And if you work for the government of Jamaica, then by extension, you become an arm of the government of Jamaica. And by extension, you now have to file with the Department of Justice under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Look at the second sentence. The views expressed by council members do not represent the views of the government of Jamaica. So then how are you going to work with the government of Jamaica or work for them, and then you can't express the views? Because they're saying to you that, hey, whatever you go out there and say, that's not representative, that's not us. So then they say, the third sentence, they say it's advisory in nature. And you make recommendations, and the government may or may not accept. So one, you're going to be working for the government of Jamaica in this council, but the council is not an arm of the government. And when you speak, you can't speak for the government. Keep those three things in mind.
Ironic, okay.
Keep those three things in mind as I show you this. Governance structure, they're telling you now how it's going to be run. Look at the first sentence. It says, the council will be led and supported by 4 individuals. Who are these 4 people? The chair will be the minister. That's the junior minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's a government official who lives in Jamaica, not in the diaspora. The second one, let's skip the second one and go to the third one. Third one is the Undersecretary for Diaspora Protocol and Consular Affairs. That's a government official who lives in Jamaica. The fourth one, the Director of the Diaspora Affairs Department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. That's a government official that lives in Jamaica, not in the diaspora. And the fourth one now is a vice chair. See it right here, sir? See it right. That's a vice chair.
That's the last one. That's the one you say I wasn't going to talk about before. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, a vice chair appointed from among the diaspora members of the council. So that's somebody who's elected to the council,
the council,
but then is appointed by them, by the government. So now tell me, how do you plan, given everything I've told you, first 3 things, and now with this, how do you plan to represent the interest of the diaspora?
Well, okay, so it does say that it's advisory, that our position is advisory. And it says that the government may or may not take the counsel that we give, right? So one of the things you had said is, how can you be in a position like this and you will not help somebody in terms of immigration, in terms of, say, there's somebody homeless? I have helped in all those different positions because of the position that I held as president of JAMCAR, where you have the people. You come into contact with these people all the time, because people just automatically, once you are the president of an organization that has Jamaica on it, they feel like, you must know somebody who can help me and stuff like that. And you can pick up the phone and make a phone call or whatever. But to answer your question directly, it said advisory, right? And even though it's a government entity, it appears to be a government entity to me, right? Based on what you're showing me. Then it is my position to give advice, to do the research, to talk to whoever I need to speak to, and then come back. Now, the question is, After you've done everything, what if they don't take your advice? But it is still an advisory position. And the whole point is to grow Jamaica, right? That Jamaica get the recognition that they need. If it's, and you're saying, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, they're involved because we're talking about, we're talking about foreign stuff. So I believe that my position would be to bring my experience, to do the research, to find, based on whatever the subject is, or what are the whatever it's communicated, that I bring advice, is the advisory board. So I don't have to be a political, but I also still represent. I used to say, well, once you're representing the diaspora, and it seems ironic that you're representing the diaspora, but you're not really representing, because it's what the government says that makes a difference. That the final say, but you still have your teeth in the grind.
All
You
right.
still have your teeth in the grind.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm kind of confused. How can you work for the government, but you're elected by the diaspora, but then you're in an advisory capacity, but you can't speak for the government, and you're not an arm of the government? And then look at this. See this? Duties and responsibilities of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. Look at what it says. It says the work of the council presents an exceptional opportunity for the government and the ministry to engage with a wide range of stakeholders whose views, perspective, networks, and resources, look at the next few words, are essential to attaining the national development priorities of the government.
Okay, so let us just, okay. All right, so hold on. So the work.
And look at
Okay.
what it says. Look at what it says. It says proactive, explicit, and far-reaching efforts will therefore be made to utilize the council. Use the council, use the council as a source of advice, ideas, inputs, with respect to what? To diaspora interests? No.
But the
To
government's
government
interest.
priority at home and abroad.
Well, hold
No.
on. Okay, so let's assume that everything is really what the government wants, right? So you're putting it as if it's a precarious position where if the diaspora, if the global diaspora the council does not exist, then who's gonna give advice to the government? Because the government has their policies in place, and at the same time they want to expand. So this may be the entity that they're using, right? To actually more people involved, get more people to have eyes on the government, and to use some of the advice that we give.
All right, good point. Here's my counter to you. The Jamaican government, like every government, they have something called a foreign service. That's their job. That's not the council's job. Their job is to go out and do the outreach, the business community, this community, the student community, all of that stuff. If they wanted it to be truly a diaspora organization, then it should be treated as such. Otherwise, what they should call it is the Global Jamaican Government Council. Because if you're working for the government, you're doing all these things. In fact, do you know that even though we vote for you, you know who can fire you?
The government.
The government. Here it is.
Well, it explicitly says that. Well, okay, so, and listen, I understand everything that you're saying, right? So
Yeah.
you're saying, like, do you really want a position where you go out and you get all this information, all this experience, you give it to the government, and really you don't really have a say. You don't really, the entity that you're really representing, it's up to the government if they think that what you're saying is viable, right? So I'm saying that if the Jamaican government, just like any, look, we already know how politics in Jamaica is. Okay, there's no secret about how it works. But if the government of and you're saying basically it should really call the government council, basically, right? Because it's the government that run everything. But what if you have a few people who are very influential, who can get through to the government what the diaspora really needs, and it gets done? How we flip the coin that way? We can flip the coin that way,
you can't flip the coin that way. Because
no, listen, because what you're saying is that, okay, it's a government, that it is really a government entity. Okay, it should really be a 501c3, because once they get involved, then all the different things come into play. And you're even saying that this, what was the term that you used? You said this entity of the government, this foreign entity that the government uses to get information, that they should be the one doing it, but it's the diaspora that's doing it.
The foreign service.
The foreign service, right? So, okay, so the foreign service, by virtue of their name, they're not gonna get as much information about certain things as, say, somebody who's on the diaspora. People are more comfortable giving more information where they feel comfortable, right? So maybe we are the vital component that the government needs to get certain points across. And then if we in turn gather all the information that they need, they can't show the 100% of it.
Hold on a second. What kind of information you're saying that the government would need? Help me out.
Okay, all right. All right, let's assume it's a spoonful of sugar made the medicine go down. Okay. So let's use for example investments in Jamaica, right? So the government already know what they want in terms of say, okay, we want certain people or certain entities to start investing in Jamaica or make it more palatable to the average Jamaican here to say it's okay to invest in Jamaica. Because remember now, the average Jamaican here, this is not to say this is exactly what it is, but they're thinking like, oh, I'm not going to invest in Jamaica because the last time I buy land, it took me about 3 years before I could actually get anything done, get it in my name and all that stuff, right? But so now that, so already your red flags already up. So maybe what the government needs is the council to reach out and make it palatable to people to say, okay, fine, you know what? Investing in Jamaica is not just about you. It's about the next person coming up. It's about, not just real estate and innovation. It's about the creative part of Jamaica as well. It's a cultural part that we can actually, move monies through. And so I can make it more palatable. You make your presentation to the government. And maybe before they would have said, well, listen, that don't make any sense to us, or this is not what we really want. But depends on how you make your presentation. That may be what the very tool that the government needs. Now, the question then becomes, why is it? It's like you're almost saying like this becomes like a cloak where it's really a government arm, but it's being presented as something totally different. But the truth of the matter is, if you know the truth that this is really a government arm, and the government really does not need to get no matter whatever you present, it may not even be considered. Do you still want to be a part of that? Isn't that what you're saying? Because if the truth, if you move the cloak and you said, okay, fine, this is what is really happening, it should really be a 501c entity. So that means that if you want to move monies or you want to move all the different things, you don't become a target, right? So that's the question you're asking. My interpretation of the question. Yes?
No. The question I'm asking you is essentially this.
Did they tell me the whole story?
Do you think that a diaspora organization should be separate and apart from a government, any government? Because the politics is not involved here as far as I'm concerned. It's a government. Any government is a connection to a government, that you are now working for a government. Essentially, that makes you the target of the Department of Justice, because you're now working on behalf of a foreign government in America. And that's a no-no unless you register. And furthermore, it's not even this council is not even registered. So the question I'm asking is, do you think that a diaspora organization or this diaspora organization should be separate and apart from the government to take care of diaspora needs first and establish a bridge so that you can cooperate and collaborate with the government, not as a subordinate, but as an equal? That's all I'm asking. Do you think that it should be separate and apart?
Well, let me ask you this question before I answer that. Who brought about this organization? Was not the government of Jamaica?
First of all, well, do you know the answer to the question you're asking me?
No, I'm asking. No, I don't. That's what I'm asking you. I don't. Okay. Like I told you, I just really started doing my little research. I really started, and yeah.
Well, this thing started in 2020. Not started. It came to life in 2020. It replaced the Diaspora Advisory Board to the government, and the government didn't have a representative in that body. And then what happened in 2020, they decided that they came up with a policy, and then they came up with the terms of reference to support the policy. And they actually say it in the policy that we are creating this policy and we're going to create a mechanism to support this policy. And that mechanism is the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. And the argument that I've heard, and the argument that I advance as well, is that let's make it a 501c3 standalone organization to deal with issues affecting people living overseas, Jamaicans living overseas. We should also reach out and extend the hand to the government. For example, with Melissa, we should be helping. But from what I hearing you saying is that you will be working for the government, and the government has no interest or very little interest in Jamaicans who don't have big money to go home and invest. Because I heard you say, well, yeah, they want to come home and they want to buy property. And how many Jamaicans here can afford to do that? Not a lot. How many Jamaicans here are suffering like dog? A lot. And so I'm saying, why not focus our attention on the people here? People who are sleeping in their car, women who have young babies on them in a shelter, people who are hide from ICE, all of that. That's what a diaspora organization is supposed to do. It's supposed to be helping out. And in fact, this same council, there's a part in it where it says, we are going to help you to, what the word them use, Kevin? Them not progress. Prosper. We're going to help you prosper in the country where you live. And if you ask the question, how are you going to make me prosper? For example, how are you going to help the people to prosper when the Jamaican government's priority is not about people prospering in America? It's about getting investors and funding to Jamaica, even though they have a foreign service person who's responsible for that. And by the way, Hope, just so you know, when I say foreign service, we're talking about ambassador in America, the ambassador and the CGs. But guess what, Hope? They also have honorary consuls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
those people are there to help. So why you need the diaspora then? To come and help you as well. And when we have people that suffer like dog, why?
Well, okay, so my short answer to that is this. If you don't play it, you can't win it. If you're not a part of an organization, so you can say, look, okay, so let's assume that everybody decided, you know what? I take my hand off of this because this is too complicated, right? So you're back to nothing. Now, if you have somebody in, so if you have somebody in the global diaspora, right? If you have somebody in it and that person is thinking, even like how you're displaying, right? Because let's face it, like I said, the atmosphere is fearful. Even as a citizen, you say to yourself, so wait, suppose I go to Jamaica and come back and say, oh, you're not coming in. Because I may have a passport, but they may say, no, you're not coming in. So even though it seems far-fetched, this is what I'm thinking, right? A next person who, all of us know somebody who not here legally or overstay their time, somebody who not here legally or overstay their time, a couple years ago, one of these in the American government, one of the judges that was supposed to get this big position, and he had hired a nanny who was illegal, like 10 years ago, whatever, right? And because of that, he couldn't get the position. So backtrotting, we all know people are in the different positions. Now, if you don't have a representative, even to have the ear of the government, where we stay? Where are we?
Okay,
So you
let me
have
answer
some
that
very
question.
valid points, right? But the point of the matter is that unless you're in it, you can't win it. You can't even get a 5% or a 20%. You never know how the tides can shift. Let us assume that I come in and I say to the government or the bodies that be, this needs to be done in a different way because you're more exposing the people, in terms of you're not really helping. You always have to need somebody who can speak up, If you can't talk, you have no grounds, right? So even from your point of view that this is really a government entity, they're not really here to help the people here. They're really only here to help the people in Jamaica. Unless somebody comes up who can speak for the two sides, get a body for answer.
All right,
Just nobody can listen to you.
Let me ask you a question. Would you be, as a candidate, would you be willing, because you say you have to be in it to change it or become a part of it, right? You have to be in it. Would you be willing to go in as a candidate and say to them, listen, you cannot have a diaspora organization run by a government. It has to be run by members of the diaspora. And if you're going to have a diaspora organization, then it has to be registered as a 501c3 so that we can take care of people. Would you be willing to go in and do that?
If I'm fully convinced, yes. Listen.
No.
Wait. No, you're giving me an
convinced?
argument. Hold on. You're giving me an argument, right? Which is solid enough. It sounds solid. But I have to do my research and say, what did this man talk foolishly? He gave me all this information on the spot. So I had to be a quick thinker. But if I'm convinced that, listen, I'm not a 20, 30, 40-year-old girl, okay? I'm an older lady, right? Even though I don't want to say it. But in other words, I have life experience. And so for me, that own self be true. Why should I go about doing something I don't believe in? If the information is given to me and I can sit down and say, well, okay, you know what? This makes sense. This don't make no sense. Why can I not say what it is?
Here's why. I just gave you the information.
They're going to fire me?
Hold on a second. Hold on. I just gave you the information. I just gave you the citation. And it clearly says that 3 out of the 4 run the organization, them run it, led and directed by them. So I just gave you the information. So I don't know how much more you're going to need for me to convince you. But here's
Well, me having to look for the document myself and read out,
well,
because everybody have a
let me
different
show it to
way
you
of,
again. Let me show it to you
everybody
again.
have a different way of learning and absorbing
You
information, right? For me personally, sit down and go through the thing and say, oh, you know what the guy right, you know. All
all right, but hold on now, hope, hold on.
go ahead.
You're run for the position. So the assumption would be that you read the document already. That would be the first assumption, that if you're running for a position, then you would at least read the so-called Bible.
I read the listen, I read the document, but I didn't go through everything. You understand me? As a matter of fact, I didn't even know I was gonna be interviewed. Yesterday she told me blah blah. I was like, oh shoot, yeah, okay. But to your point, if I feel that this is what the argument that you're giving me, if I feel that it is solid enough, now, what would stop me from really saying it? I mean, does it mean that I am a firebrand because I'm bringing an argument to the government? The point of the matter is that when you have a position, things always change, but at the same time, obviously, this is something that the government sat down, thought about that this is how we're going to run this program. If I'm a part of that, why, if I really believe what you're saying to me, right? And obviously you give me food for thought, then this is my job, if I am convinced, to make an argument.
All right.
What's the worst? Wait. What's the worst can happen? Let's say go about your business, sit down. Okay, yeah, go to the next person then.
All right, hold on. Kevin won't come in, but I just want to ask you one more question before Kevin comes in, because I know you have to go to. Let's say you're convinced that we're gone past that now, where you say I have to be convinced. No, you're convinced that, wait a minute, the government shouldn't.
I'm convinced.
No, I'm saying just for the sake of this.
Just for argument's sake, yeah.
That you're saying, I'm convinced now that the government shouldn't run this organization. It should be run completely by people in the diaspora. It should be a 501c3, and it should be looking out for the needs of the people in Jamaica with a bridge, working with the government. Let's say you get to that point, right? Would you express that to them and say, guys, listen, this is just how I feel about it, and it shouldn't be run by the government. We actually should be running it, and we should interface with you. But in terms of you leading and directing and kicking people off the board and giving us your national priorities, we have priorities here too, and therefore I disagree with it. Would you voice that opinion with them?
I don't know if I would immediately. I'll tell you why. Because why couldn't another organization be formed that does the same exact thing that you're saying?
Tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because we were instrumental in forming this organization. So why should we run away from something that we helped to design? And not only that, if they want to change it, then take out the word diaspora and we'd all be fine. Call it the Global Jamaica Government Council, and we'll be fine. But the moment you put diaspora in there, and then not only that, you're asking people to vote. You're asking people to vote, and you're saying, vote in this election, and the person who you vote for is going to be working for us. Not for you, they'll be working for us because they're going to be working on national priorities for Jamaica. So if you said that to them, let me just prepare you in case if you're willing to be convinced, I'll allow you to go read and think. But let me show you something. Let me just show you something.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. If you do that, look at K.
Okay.
See that? Individuals whose actions or intentions are reasonably determined to be inconsistent. You know what that mean? We want to run it and you say, no, you want the diaspora to run it with objectives of the council, or whose participation would compromise its credibility, effectiveness, or lawful operation shall be deemed ineligible for membership or subject to removal.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, isn't it their entity? Isn't it their organization?
No, it's not. It's not. We allow them to do it. Hope it's not theirs. If it's theirs, hope. If it's theirs, then why are we voting? Why they don't appoint people then? Just appoint people.
Anything else? If they, as far as they're concerned, why don't, we don't know everybody, but say these people are running for the position and there has to be a vote, because what a vote means is that this is the person that the diaspora is confident that they can represent them, of the members that can represent them. And of course, like I'm saying, like it's like any board, they have their rules and you have to, not everybody's gonna agree with all the rules, but that's why you have a brain. That's why you have convictions.
One second, please. Sorry to interrupt you.
I like that. Please, sir. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah. You have people that work for you, right?
Yes.
What's a couple of the criteria that they need to meet? A couple of requirements that they need to meet to work for you.
Well, first of all, this is in the fashion business. I mean, in terms of the store.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. No. Well, they have to basically be on board what my vision is for the company organization, They have to be on time. They have to be innovative in terms of, when we have these meetings, that they come up with ideas like that.
Okay. So
And,
keep
and
that
let me
in
tell
mind.
you, there are people who sometimes they disagree with me completely, and then sometimes I may have to step back and say, "Wait, it's a
Okay.
personal up on my side."
And,
But at the
that's fine.
same time, depending on how they bring the argument to me, I have to stop and think and say, "Well, is this a valid point?" And maybe I have to revisit it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want you to keep that in mind, keep that at the forefront of your mind. How much time do you need to look over the terms of reference and the policy? How much time do you think you'd need to
I
review
think
it?
a week.
All right.
A week to
So
just sit down and look at it.
we're off next week and we come back on the 10th. Are you willing to come back on the 10th and talk with us again?
Yes.
After reviewing the terms of reference and the policy?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Because I'm not
and
going to tell you it take me a day or two because I have to sit down and look and dissect and.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just show her something, Kevin. Let me just show her something.
no, you see,
Hold on.
before you do that, here's why I say this. A part of this position you really weren't aware of.
Okay.
And taking that into consideration, I would want you to look a little bit more at what the job entails and what will be required of you. Take the information that you just received and this next piece that you're going to get and look at the terms of reference, look at the policy, and then come back.
And am
let
I
us
allowed
have
to
a
speak
conversation.
to a few people who were on the council before?
Of course, you can talk to whomever. No problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me show you something.
Whatever resources that you have available to you, go ahead, tap into that. Because with that, now you get to take the position of, if there is something that I would change, this is what it would be. Now you can answer that question when you come back.
Okay.
Take a look at this.
But look at this. Go ahead.
This is the diaspora policy. Have you read this?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell me what the not a trick question? Can you tell me what the objectives the objectives of this policy is? What the objectives are? If you can tell me before I get to it. Can you tell me what the objectives are?
Well, you have it right there. You have it right
Yeah,
here.
they have a threefold issue. They have a threefold issue
Okay.
issue for the diaspora. Can you tell me what they are? Because you say if you had said I didn't read it, then I wouldn't ask you.
No, I read it. I can't sit down and tell you honestly. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
All right, let me show you this.
Yeah.
See this?
Okay.
That's the threefold issue. That's the first one, right? This is how confused they are because on 1 minute they're telling you that you're going to work on the national policies of Jamaica. Then they come and says a threefold issue. The first one is development of the diaspora in the host country. Now, seriously now, do you need the government of Jamaica to tell you how to develop the diaspora in the country where people voted for you? Them they are Jamaica and them are going to tell you, say, this is what we want you to develop it. Meanwhile, you have a group of people who voted for you. You're not corresponding with them because now you're working for the Jamaican government. Look at...
But look, it's like, I don't think anything wrong with that, honestly. What's wrong with that?
With what?
It said development of the diaspora in the host country.
No. Here's what's wrong with it. The government is telling you, right, how that you're going to develop it. And I'm saying, no, wait a minute. You have people from New England all the way down to the mid-Atlantic states who voted for you. Why not go to them and develop it with them? You don't need the government to tell you how to do it. That's the wrong approach. Because then if I voted for you and you don't come to me and say, what are your needs? How can I help you? But then you hear it from the government of Jamaica telling you how you should approach me. And most of the time, they're not going to say to you, go talk to them and find out how we can help them. It's going to be how they can help us. That's what you're going to hear. I tell you what, because I see you looking up in the ear, your eyes down up. So I tell you what you do. Let me remove this. And Kevin said it right. Kevin. And
no, listen, I'm a straight shooter. I'm not gonna say I know something unless I know it. Okay. So I mean, to me, it's like, okay, that's neither here nor there because a lot of organizations, that you represent, they basically tell you what they want and then you go based on that. And, then you can develop your relationships and then bring back some of that into what you're presenting. So,
all right. I have a quick question for you. Hope, you represent the Northeast and the people in Brooklyn say, hey, Hope, we want some help. The policy says that they're going to help with immigration thing too. And them say, Hope, we want help with immigration. And then you go to the government of Jamaica and say, and the government said, no, we're not going to help nobody over there with no immigration stuff. We're not going to do it. We're not going to get involved.
Is that a fact? Is that a fact?
Let me show you something more. Is
that a fact?
Well, I'll show you something.
Wait,
just wait, man. Give me 1 second. It's right here. I'm going to show you something that is going to cause a lot of problems.
To who? Me? Or...
No. Why would we say that about you? No, man. you're good people pick them on. All right, take a look at this.
Okay.
See this?
All right.
The
That's
first
challenging.
challenges, impact of immigration legislation in the U.S. And I want you to go and read this. I don't want to read this to you because I sense that you, even though I show it to you, you said, no, I want to read it myself.
Yes. Okay.
When you go to the policy, this is on page, what page is this on now, Kevin? This is on page, it's in the appendix. Let's go to the appendix and just go to immigration legislation in the U.S., right?
Okay.
And then what you will see is that they're here in this section, they're saying that they don't really dig the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, because the first Trump administration was terrible when it comes to when it was terrible when it came to immigration matters. And so they said, we love Biden, and Biden is going to be doing all of these things. And one of the things Biden is going to be doing, it's right here. The Biden administration has also signaled its interest in restoring immigration system and promoting integration of new Americans. Look at the very last sentence. If successful, there would be multiple ways for undocumented persons to citizenship. Go and tell the Trump administration this now. Say, we want multiple ways for undocumented persons in America to become citizens. This is a Jamaican policy.
If successful, there will be multiple ways.
Yes, because they up them.
We don't have the Biden administration or the Trump administration, and it's a totally different ballgame.
Look what them say about the Trump administration. You see it right as well. Following attempts by the Trump, let me make it smaller for you.
Let me make it small, yeah.
Oh, wait, down. There it is. Oh, wait. Following attempts by the Trump administration to tighten the U.S. borders, because one of the things that they say is that we are going to ensure that you are successful in the country where you live. Immigration is one of the issues that there is. So I'm asking you now, would you be willing to go now and defend this to the Trump administration?
Me?
You'd be crazy. You'd be crazy.
No, you need the ambassador.
There you go. There you go. And the ambassador is what? Part of foreign service. There you go. So why they want you involved in it then? Why would they want the council to be involved in it? No. So here's what happened. Kevin said the right
like this. No, me definitely no. I have to read and dissect that because first of all, that was obviously written at least 2 or 3 years ago, right? That's not written since 2025.
But
right?
It's
because
the
a new
government.
administration in policy. Wait. It's a new administration that's in policy right now, right? Secondly, that I don't see where I'll be getting a meeting with the Homeland Security and immigration people to change anything like that. I wouldn't be getting an audience. I'm not a government entity, as you already gonna say. Yes, I am, but that was written a couple years ago. So the Biden administration is no more. The immigration policies have changed drastically since. So that argument is kind of mute in a sense because
Here's why it's not mute. It's still the policy. It hasn't been removed from the diaspora policy. It's still there. Go look at it today. It's still there.
Don't worry, I'm going to look at it next week after
And the second thing is, it's not a different government, It's the same government in 2020 that is the government of Jamaica right now. The third thing is this. What if the ambassador said to you, Hope, you're our representative, and so what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to go talk to your councilman or your council member and talk to them about trying to effect some policies so that, Jamaicans who are here in an undocumented fashion, that they can probably, come up with some legislation to try and make it easier for these people to secure
legal status.
The legal status in America. What would you say to your boss?
Look, you have a blind. I mean, these policies are on the news every single day. You look at the New York Times, and they're getting more and more stringent in terms of even somebody overstay a week. You can't even come back to the country. So wait. You asked me a question. Listen, you asked me a question. So let me give you an answer. Question. And this answer is not even based on all the information I could gather. But you're saying that the government that was in when this was written, it's the same government. It has not changed. It hasn't changed the wording. Put it that way, right? They haven't changed the wording. So as far as they're concerned, is the fact that they have not changed the wording, which means that this is what they stand by. They have an old administration. We have a new administration, and we understand that. Wait, now listen, man. When somebody asks me a question,
you're answering a question I didn't ask you. I ask you, so what if your boss
asked me to go and talk to? In this case, would be Lawler. Wait, hold on. I would have to talk to Congressman Lawler because he's the one in charge of our district, right?
Okay.
So I'd have to, if he said to me, Hope, I need for you to go and talk to Lawler
Right.
about possibly giving a voice to the Jamaicans here who are not here legally.
Right.
I could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It's just like when you say to me that
Oh.
wait, no, hold on. Like when you say to me the
You fight a
government.
hypothetical, man. You fight it. Yeah.
No,
That's
I'm not
it.
fighting because I mean I would have to talk to Lala. I would have to talk to Mike Lala
Oh,
and
so
say,
you would go,
okay,
you would go
this
and
is
talk to Lala. You'd go and talk to Lala.
yes, I would. I would if I
You know what
mean
you just done did,
not to
Hope?
say that anything.
You know
Well,
what
you
you
know
just
what? That's
done?
not true because there's a situation where I don't think it was a Jamaican though that was about to be deported, and he actually intervened, and the person was saved. So the possibilities exist. So I don't know if, in terms of a broad spectrum of a
No, no, just
policy.
one person. Just one person. Hope, you know what you've just done? Given the hypothetical and your answer, you know what you've just done?
What?
You've just broken the law.
How? I can't. The government is it? What do you mean the
I'll
government?
tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Wait,
You
who is
cannot.
wait. Who
Let
is
me
the
explain
boss?
to you.
Is it
Let me,
the government of
it no
Jamaica?
matter what the boss.
Or am
No,
I
it's
still
not.
or already the boss? My
It no
boss.
matter. No,
I'm
no
the
matter.
boss.
No, no. Here's what happened. You said it before. Now you say you work for the government. You're now on the council. The council is controlled by the government of Jamaica. And what you just did, you just lobbied on behalf of the Jamaican government. They ask you to do it, and you do it. And guess what happened? You didn't file under the Foreign Agents Registration Act.
Damn. So when you try to say now, so you're saying that Karine is in Dunkley is in a position like that now?
You tell her that, not me. You tell her that.
I'll talk to her because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone got a totally different argument. Not you're going to give a totally different argument than what you're giving me.
Hope, trust me on this one. I've read the law. I'm a lawyer. I know how this thing works. This particular one. I may not know about a whole bunch of other things, but FARA, I know how FARA works. Foreign Agents Registration Act. Ask Miss Dunkley about it. Just ask her about FARA.
I'm going to.
Yes.
Believe me, I'm going to.
Let me ask you one question before Kevin
Yes.
ask a question.
Love ask a question.
Is there something I should ask you that I haven't? It's not a trick question. It's not
No.
a trick.
No, you're a lawyer, no, right? So when you ask a question like
No, all of a sudden, no, me a lawyer.
well, you're the one who told me you're a lawyer, right? Okay, you're the one who told me you're a lawyer. Okay, so the question you should ask me is, do I think I'm built for this? After I do my research, do I think I'm built for this?
Oh, I ask you after you do your research.
You can ask me after, yeah. Because I'll make a decision.
Don't
Yeah.
ask you now.
You can ask me now, and then you can ask me again
No,
after
but here's
that.
the thing. Here's the thing. If I should ask you, because one of the things I try not to do, because I don't know if you're aware of this, I was an FBI agent for almost 30 years.
Damn.
And I'm also a lawyer. So one of the things I don't do,
FBI agent.
one of the things I don't ask questions if I don't know. So if I ask you, are you billed for this? I'm going to tell you, no, you're not billed for this. And you know why? Because you admitted to it. You said, look, I have to go and talk to people. I have to go and read these things and I have to come back. So I'm saying at this point in time, you're not billed for it. Maybe after you finish and you come back next week or so, or when we come back after
you said the
break,
10th, right?
Say,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, maybe then we'll say, yeah, you're billed. Well, you wouldn't be billed for it. We'll say you're ready for it. So I yield to Kevin.
Is Kevin a lawyer also?
In training.
Or is you training him?
No.
Is he?
Self-study.
Self-study. Oh, it's coming like the Kardashian girl. Okay.
Hope.
Kardashian.
I don't even have another question for you. I just suggest you take your time to look at these policies, to look at the terms of references. And I can warn you, the current terms of reference and the former terms of reference, you may be looking for some references or reference points in one of them that you will not find. I'll warn you about that now. But take your time, read through, highlight, take your notes, use whatever resources you have available to you, ask some questions, and then come back and we'll talk some more. This is not an attack on you. Minimum, this is to prepare you for what you are looking to get into.
And I appreciate it. Actually, I do. I really do. I
But
think it's eye-opening, and considering that Mr. Rattigan is, I think I hear what he was saying was like he's one of the persons who started the original thing.
His name
So-
Will. That was Mr. Rattigan.
No, I didn't start the original thing. I
You
didn't.
know, say him a lawyer, man. Because
No, I didn't start
last
it.
name.
But here's what you do. Here's what I suggest you do. I suggest you go talk to Akilah Maitland, talk to Karen Dunkley, talk
I
to
will.
Michelle Tolonil, and then you can also reach out to the people at the consulate, reach out to people at the ministry in Jamaica, and don't tell them you know me, because they might ask you a whole bunch of questions. So, but that is what you do, and in preparation to come back, because we want to make sure that you're convicted about the position that you take and your decision. We just don't want you go inside there and then next thing you know, you're like, some of these folks that they go in and they just go along to get along with the government. We want people who are actively responsible for us meaning people in the diaspora, because we need help and we need somebody who can represent that need. We don't want people going inside and say, well, we're going to rub shoulders with the ministers and we're going to take pictures with them and we get invited to the various cocktail parties and all of that. We don't want that. We want somebody to go and roll up them sleeves and go inside there and fight for us. And you ask a very good question. You asked several good questions. One of them was,
I did.
One of them was, hey, why you want to go inside there and do all of this? Why don't you go ahead and do your own or whatever, right? And I was telling you that in truth and in fact, it's our own. Apart from that, it's this: the terms of reference does provide for reform of the document, for amendments. And in fact, like Kevin mentioned to you, that when you look at those two terms of reference, because there are two of them, you will see
the one before and okay,
right. You will see things in one that you won't see in another. And so,
but the last one is the one that's active now. You're saying, right?
But the last one is also incorrect because it mentions some things in there some things that are not in there. They're in the first one, and
but
they don't
hold on, wait. Because if the second one is the second true document, now this is what they're going by now. I mean, the first one was whatever they had before, but the second one is the one that they're now using in it. Yes.
Yes, they're using the second one, but there are things in the second one that they reference to. For example, they'll say, look to section 9 and 10, and there's no section 9, there's no section 10. You have a section 9 and 10 in the first one, but the second one doesn't reference it. Look to the first one and you'll see what we're talking about. It's not there. And then there are a whole bunch of contradictions in there when you look at both of them. I think the people who drafted it, they're fully conflicted. But then when you look at it, because on one hand, they wanted to have a foot in the diaspora and a foot in Jamaica, and it can't work like that. You have to have both feet in one place. Either you're going to do it here, and the moment you say diaspora, it has to be here. It cannot be in Jamaica. But to get inside there, to make changes, you have to be willing. You have to be courageous. You have to be determined that I am going in there representing a constituency that accounts for the largest group of Jamaicans living outside of Jamaica, the Northeast. And therefore, I am not yielding. I am not backing down. I am going to represent my point. And if you talk to people like I do in the Northeast, they're saying, we don't want the government to run the diaspora organization. We want it to be registered. In fact, do you know that you become the representative for the Northeast? You know that you're going to be required to travel from Maine. You're going to be Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, D.C.
We lost her.
She's gone.
We lost her. I don't think she left, but
I think the battery might have died.
Yeah.
All right. So folks, man, we're at 7:22. We not get to we not do the thing yet, Kevin, the Diaspora Council thing. We don't get to it. We don't get to ADPEM. We were reaching some place with Michelle, and we're trying to kind of dovetail it into the thing, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. ADPEM, we don't get to that. JPS, we not finished JPS. That's how things are around here, people. We just can't get to the things that we need to do. But Law I says she gallop. No, man.
No. I really don't think she left us. I really believe that her device probably died or something else. I don't think she. I really believe she's interested in learning more about what will be required of her in this position, and she wasn't given the full picture. And so when she's hearing all of this, it's new. It's kind of overwhelming because she's basically sold on the idea of coming in and being an aid to people in the diaspora, but she just didn't know how deep it went.
Right.
That's my true belief.
Kevin, let me just interrupt because we just let me just show. Somebody just put in the chat, I'd rather watch Malema than listen to whatever. This is what we really need. We need somebody who's gonna go in there and challenge the authority. And I don't think we got that from Hope, but hopefully she's gonna read this thing. Like she said, she needs to be convinced and she's not convinced yet. So she needs to be convinced of the things that we're pointing out. So she has to go read. Just to take a quick little break, folks. I just want to show you what it means, what I would be doing, and what I'm looking for. Somebody asked about Malema. Take a look at this.
I'm going to ask respectfully General Mkwanas to confirm that the statement that has been made, I know that procedure.
On a point of order, Chair. On a point of order.
Yeah, can I finish what I'm saying? So
on a point of order, Chair.
When you call the point of
no,
order.
I insist on a point of order. We are about to mess up. On a point of order.
Okay, point of order taken.
There is no General Mkwanazi before this committee. He's not here until we've satisfied his appearance before us. It is procedurally wrong because once you talk to him, the first thing he must do, the first step he must do is to take an oath. Then only then he's before us. In the absence of the oath, let's release him. He's not part of this mess. He's a witness called to come before us after he was told he met all the requirements. You can't ask him anything. The only time we are going to interact with him, because if you ask him something, I'm also bound to ask him something because me and you enjoy the same rights. And then the whole house is going to start asking him questions. He has not administered an oath it's not taken an oath. So please, Chair, we are all agreed. Let's release him. And I don't know if 15 minutes is realistic because he's going to take up issues with the legal team as well when they arrive there. So I don't know. But to engage General Mkwanas is actually out of order because he's not before us. He has to first he's not a member of parliament. He has to first take an oath, and then from there we can engage him.
That is a valid point, Honorable Member, and I 100% agree with you that he is not properly appearing before us.
That is what we want, Kevin. We want somebody who's going to go up there and speak to the chair and say, listen, you cannot run the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. And guess what, folks? They will either have to kick you out or they take a vote. And if a vote is taken, you'll know who the traitors are. When I say traitors, people who violate their oath. And when I say oath, because when you represent somebody, there's a bond there. There's a bond between you and the voters that you're going to represent them. We ever hear this, that you vote for who or whomever, and they represent the government. They work for the government. Will you ever hear something like that? They work for you because guess what happened? The government is saying, listen, we set the agenda, we set the meetings, we tell you what to do, when, where, how, why. We do all of that. But your constituency will vote for you, and then you will do as we say. You need somebody to get inside and say, no, it cannot work like that. And then the people who vote for that, no, we have them on record. No, we have them on record, and then you can go back to the various communities and say, listen, you know that this person voted for the Jamaican government to continue running this movement. Them can call it an organization. And guess what, people? In terms of organization versus movement, it is an organization. When you look at the terms of reference, when you look at the policy, it is an organization. So then, why is it not registered? Why? It cannot be registered because you have government officials running it. It's simple. So the part I just show you right here, and I know they're watching, and we're going to get into this another time, but where is it? Wait, Kevin. Where is it? Here it is. This part right here. Let me show you. All of you, the what I'm calling the electoral committee, we know that you changed the rules. How much time we have? Half hour. All right, you know what? Make we go to it then, Kevin. Hold on. Make we go to it. Could have spent a half hour upon this. People, remember we said we have a big announcement to make, right? We have a big announcement. No.
I don't know what it is our listeners know about me. I've been saying some things about me in this chat.
Let them say.
Lady Jane said, I'm still in shock.
Okay. No, and somebody said no, like Hope was saying that I was probably part of the people who did it. No, not me. I had nothing to do with the policy. I had nothing to do with the terms of reference. Folks, remember, I just started doing this like what, 4 years ago. I started sitting behind the microphone after COVID. I'm a newbie. It's just that I've spent my waking hours studying upon all of these things. That's all there is to it. So if I sound like, I know this thing like the back of my hand because I was there when it started. No, I know it like the back of my hand, but not because I was there when it started. It's because I have put in the hours. Now, remember, when they came out with this thing, with this council and the voting, remember they put up they put this up. Where is it? They put up the first one. Where is it, Kevin? Okay, here it is. They put up this, if you remember. This is the first one they put up, and they didn't put it up right away. People kept asking, when is this thing coming up? Because we heard that there was going to be an election. And look at what it says. Registration starts Wednesday, 15th of October. Nominations, same day. And the election was from this 20th of November to the 13th of December. And then guess what, people? Some of you registered as required, and then you started voting since the 20th of November. And lo and behold, the folks went and they changed it to another date. They give us another. Here it is. This is the newest one. Look, the nomination period now ends January 19th. And then the 21st of January, they're going to publish the final slate of candidates. And you can then to vote, to register as a voter, you have until the 24th of January. And then the 28th of January, you start voting. Maybe you guys can't see it. Let me big it up. There it is. There it is. Remember now, the original one says we're going to finish up everything in December. And look when we're going to finish now. We're going to finish in February. They recently sent this out, right? And I'm going to show you. And remember, when I applied, they come back and say, we're rejecting your application because you didn't give us a
headshot.
Yeah, they didn't. No, I did give them a headshot, but they said that I didn't put up the CV, my resume, right? No, yes. What they said in the thing is that resume optional, right. Meaning it's not required. And they said, we're rejecting it because you need to do this. So I did it. Then they came back and then they notified me. They put up my picture and say, yes, you're a candidate. So there are 4 candidates for the Northeast. 4 candidates for the Northeast. So all of that finished. People started voting. Well, lo and behold, the powers that be, them send me this a week ago. I didn't even see it. See the date up here. See the date here. Hold on. See the date right here. This was last week when we were on, But no, after we on, this is when me I play music, Last week when me I boogie down. Them send it. Look when them send it to me. 10:23 p.m. See it right here. Let me show you. From the thing I lie. I guess them probably that wait till me start playing music. See it? 10:23 p.m. them send it. Last week Saturday. Them I work late. But anyway, electoral committee for the Northeast. Now look at what these idiots. And I have to call them idiots of the highest order. We can't spare them. Look at what they're doing.
Hold on, Provost. Wayne, they probably changed the date because of Hurricane Melissa. Hurricane Melissa was in Western Jamaica, not in the diaspora.
Exactly. And Wayne, by the way, don't forget that in 2020, they had an election in Jamaica with COVID raging. Remember that? And that was in Jamaica, and they had a general election. Now we have an election overseas, far removed from COVID. Tell me 1 tree COVID blow down in America, or 1 house. No. But look at this.
Melissa, you said COVID. COVID no blow down a tree.
but look at this. It says here, dear candidates. I mean, them send it to you now. Dear candidates, the Electoral Committee writes to provide a formal update regarding the electoral process. This is last week Wednesday. This is after them don't vet me and them say, yes, you're a candidate. And then people started voting. It says here, and it's important, we have 25 minutes. So I'll read this. It says, as previously communicated and placed in the public domain, the elections were postponed. You see it right there, sir? The elections were postponed due to what? Hurricane Melissa. How many of you in America, Hurricane Melissa blew down on a shop and things like that? All right. Now listen to this. Following this postponement, it was brought to the attention of the Electoral Committee that voting activity had commenced prematurely. How you can vote prematurely? Why you open up the voting booth then? Why you open up the voting portal before it's due? Why? You ever hear something like that? You open up a polling station before the day of polling, right? People come and vote, and then you say, oh no, they shouldn't have voted because the polling station is not open for business. But you open it and make the people come in and vote. And by the way, people voted.
Come vote.
Yeah, and people voted during the time period. And them say, before the application period has fully closed, before the slate of candidates was approved and ratified, before the official campaign period has begun, and prior to the formal opening, prior to the formal opening of the voting period, then I will open it. The people them vote. I will open it. People, make we go back and show them. See, I know. Election period 20th of November to the 13th of December. Why you open it before the 20th of November? If you're claiming that people voted before the 20th of November, Why you open it? And then Kevin, them tell people, say,
hold on.
we have your vote.
Is it prior to the 20th of November or prior to the new date that they're referring to?
This is the one that they're talking about. This is the one that they're talking about. So people voted before the date, because the new date, the time not come yet.
Yeah, but they changed the date. By the time you got this email, the date had already changed. So it would have been in the original period for voting.
Yeah, but what happened is that it's crazy because they opened it. People voted after November. And people voted after November, and then they say, oh, people started voting too soon. Why you? And then guess what? Guess what now, Kevin? It's closed now. If you go and try and vote now, it's closed. So that's why I'm saying these people are idiots of the highest order. Where them find them people are from? Then look here now. In light of these procedural irregularities, and I'm sure say caused by us, the electoral community has determined that the electoral process has been reset in its entirety. See that, people? Then look at this now. To be clear, them say candidates are not required to submit their application. However, all applications without exception are subject to re-review and reapproval. Now, if it's voting is the issue, why is it that they're going to review a candidate that they already approve? If voting is the issue, remember, no. Voting is the issue.
That is the issue, however, because chances are somebody was getting the majority of the votes already, and it was leaning towards that. So voting is the issue.
Well, people, I am here to tell you that I heard it. I don't have any independent knowledge of it, but I've heard reliable sources that they looked at the early voting and they saw that a gentleman by the name of Rattigan was leading. And they said, we can't make this happen. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. But I think I ought to tell you that. And the reason why I ought to tell you that is because those of you who voted, they're saying now that your votes won't count. So I need to let you know that. Now, look at what else they said. They said they're going to review and reapprove the applications, right? No, remember, no, my candidacy was not the issue. The issue was that they opened the gates and people started voting. And some people voted during the time period after November the 4th. But listen to this. Once the review is complete, candidates will be approved or rejected based on the established eligibility criteria. And look at
first established criteria or the second established criteria.
It is the second one. It's not the first one, because the first one we already established that. We're past that. Them approve it. Look at this. Them say all approvals will be ratified. So they'll be them going to review and approve or reject. And then we don't know who's doing this now, because look, them say to us, all approvals will then be ratified by the electoral committee. Now look at this. Following ratification, the final list of candidates will be submitted to the diaspora for review. Hell no. It will be submitted to the ministry. It will be submitted to the government. And then the official ratified list will be published on the website. See it right here. See it right here, so. See it right here. Let me take it. See it right here, so. MFAFT, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. The government is going to send out the list, right? And them say only after that will you be formally invited to engage in campaigning. Voting will commence strictly in accordance with the blah, blah, blah. All right. This reset applies equally to all prospective candidates. All right. Now, Kevin asked a question. What's the eligibility? All right. The new eligibility with them coming, not the old one. The new one with them just come up with. Here it is right here. Every member must be Jamaican. That was in the old one. You must be at least 21 years of age. That was in the old one. You must be of good character, blah, blah, blah. That was in the old one. Actually, part of C wasn't in the old one. Now, look at the rest of it. D, you must demonstrate a willingness to, people, no, don't laugh. Look at this. Candidates
we get jokes.
I'll demonstrate a willingness to cooperate in good faith not with the diaspora, but with the government of Jamaica and fellow council members, irrespective of personal political affiliation, in order to do what? Advance the objectives. There it is. Objectives of diaspora engagement. That is the government policy. Look at this. Them say candidates shall commit to promoting the goodwill of Jamaicans globally, and to safeguard the positive reputation of Jamaica and the integrity of brand Jamaica. And we know who mash up that across the diaspora. The diaspora is not mashing up brand Jamaica. It's people in Jamaica. It's the government of Jamaica destroying that. And it says, for the purpose of determining if a person satisfies this criteria, as well as the stated criteria in C, that you mustn't bring the council or the government into disrepute. See that? You must not bring the council or the government of Jamaica into disrepute. So they must say, if you say something where we not like and you say it publicly, then you are disrepute. But here's the thing. I thought they said when you speak, that when you speak as a member, you don't speak for the government. I thought that was part of it. That look, when you speak, you don't speak for the government. So why is it then now that you're going to say to me, so then me destroy brand Jamaica and me now cooperate with the government of Jamaica and fellow council members? But look at these people. It says in order for you to be eligible, see it right here, a person shall be eligible for election only if she, remember no, this is the new one, you have no criminal conviction. That is in the first one. You're not bankrupt. That's in the first one. You have no pending litigation. That's it. All of these in the first one. Now look at I. Candidates shall be willing to collaborate with the ministry with responsibility. So they're saying you must be willing to collaborate with the government. Of course, you're willing to collaborate with the government, provided it's in the best interest of first the diaspora and then Jamaica, right? To strengthen relations across all relevant sectors. That's fine. Candidates must possess expertise in a sector. This one is fine. Now look at K, people. Look at K, because some people are telling me that K is actually not K. It's mean kick out Rattigan. That's what K stands for. Look at what it says. Individuals whose actions or intentions, Sita, are reasonably determined. What do I mean by reasonably determined? And who is going to be doing this?
Yes,
are reasonably determined to be to be inconsistent with the objectives of the council. And by the way, I don't support the objectives of the council, because the objectives of the council is to support the Jamaican government. And I don't care who is in government. I'm saying support the diaspora. Then you can build a bridge with the government. But you remember what Hope said? No, Hope said her idea is that she works for the government. And we're saying, no, you work for the people who voted for you. Right? Look at this. Or whose participation would compromise its credibility. Of course, I'm saying it's not credible. So that's why we need to get in there and make the change to make it credible. Effectiveness or lawful operation shall be deemed ineligible for membership or subject to removal. That is the Rattigan rule. It's clear as day. So what's going to happen now, people, is that they're going to send me a letter and they're going to say, Mr. Rattigan, based on your utterances, we find that clear based, we can impute intentions to your utterances. And those intentions we have reasonably determined to be inconsistent with the objectives of the council. And therefore, we are informing you that your candidacy has been rejected. So that is what is going to happen. But here's what happened now, people. We have plan A, we have plan B, we have plan C. We won't tell them the plan, but we have other plans. I'm waiting for them to send it to me, because I'm telling them right now, council members, you bunch of nincompoops, you bunch of idiots. This is unlike me to call people out like this, but you must be called out for who you are and what you're doing. You are blindingly stupid. How can you have an election set up, have people nominate, and then have people voting? No, have people nominated, have them vetted, have them acknowledged as candidates, have people started to vote. First of all, you open the voting gate, so if people voted before, that's your problem, but it's not a problem of the candidates. And then you turn around and said, you know what? We have to do this thing all over again. And then the question is, but wait a minute, nothing's wrong with the candidates. The candidates didn't do anything wrong. So how is it now that you're going to revisit the idea of vetting candidates? The candidates didn't do anything wrong. And then you change the eligibility rules. You change the eligibility rules and then come down and say, if you, based on your actions or intentions, are opposed to the objectives of the council, then we can't have you in the council. Now, is that democracy, people? Is that democracy? You only want people who share your view. Is that it? Is that it? And then they ask us to vote. People, listen, we know what's going on. All of you imbeciles talking about your member of the Electoral Council, I challenge you to come on this program and justify what you've written. Come on the program. Like Hope is coming back next month. I want you to come on with Hope. Justify what you've written now. Justify it. And not only that, don't be scoundrels hiding behind a name. Come out, show your face. Come out and show your face and challenge us, so that if we have to file a lawsuit, we know who we want to file it against. Come out and show us. Come out and show us. But you know what, people? Mark my words. Them not that brave. Them not that brave. Them brave behind the computer. Hope you
Keyboard
see it.
warriors. Keyboard warriors.
We hope there. Also hope yeah. Yes, hope. Big up yourself.
I apologize, but
No
my
apology
battery died
necessary.
and I'm in a
No apology
restaurant now with my
necessary.
husband. So
No
I
apology
just want to
necessary.
listen. I can't talk.
No apology necessary. That's
No
fine. We
worries.
understand. No apology necessary. I said no apology necessary.
Oh, okay. Thank you, guys.
All right.
I will be back for the punishment.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. So people say what happened is that so them want this is not even like a matter of interpretation that you can say, well, they have a point. They have no point. No point. These are the idiots who set this thing up. These are the idiots who, if people voted early, they're the ones to be blamed for it. People didn't hack into the computers and started voting. No, they're the ones who did it. And what about the people who voted during the time period? So and like I said, I've been told, I don't know if it's true, I just have been told that the early voting came in, and when them look, them say, a man gonna lead, and them just say, no, we can't have this man here because this man is coming inside. And like I said, I am supremely confident that if I get there, it'll go change. It must change. It cannot help but change, because you know why? We are dealing with truth and justice. That's what we are dealing with. Cannot have a government running a diaspora organization and telling the diaspora that you are here to serve our needs. It cannot be that way. And even when they say, yes, we're here and we will help you, there is no help forthcoming. It can't work like that. So I'm just saying, and now you see what they're saying. They're saying all of you who voted before, and watch, you know what they're planning to do? They're planning to wait until, because they know all of you are going to vote again. All of you who voted for me, they know you're going to vote, and you're going to tell your family and your friends and your co-workers and your church members and this and that. They're going to tell them vote for Rattigan. So you know what they're doing? You know what them think we are fool around here. They're going to wait until like the last minute. No, they'll probably change now, because I'm telling them I know what their strategy is. They're probably going to wait till the last minute to say, oh, we're sorry that, but you're not, we're going to reject your application. And by then people just get fed up and just say, sure, they can't bother with it, It's a week now, they say that, So the question then is, what is it that they're going to review? What is it that they think they miss with the first review that they're going to find out in the second review? And we ever hear this, they reviewed you, they approved you, and then they said, oh no, we have to go back and review the whole thing again. Because I'm telling you people, I forgot who said it, that if you have a group of people, in a group of people, if one person, in a group of people discussing an issue, and if only one person has a view that is correct, you know what you have? You have a majority of one. I am certain that when I get there, if they send me there, the other members, they will see through this nonsense, and they will have no choice but to say, you know what, he's right. We have to get rid of the government out of the Diaspora Council, and we have to register it, and we have to register with the Department of Justice, and we have to do this, and we have to do that. They know it. So they just say, no, we don't want him. So all you council members out there, the ones... when I say council members, I'm talking about the electoral commission. What them call themselves, Kevin?
The diaspora electoral commission?
Yeah, electoral committee. The electoral committee. You bunch of numbskulls. If you ever let Rattigan in, on the know what happened, it's over. Because me not make no bones, me not hide and talk behind somebody's back or send mixed messages. I'm making it abundantly clear. Global Jamaica Diaspora Council needs to be a standalone organization. I don't have to run it. I don't want to run it. I just want to see it standalone with diaspora members running it, and that it is registered as a 501c3, and then that we can go from there. That's what I want to see. And the general, yeah, we can start a new group, but why are you going to reinvent the wheel? We have this group already, and they'll tell you it's for us. They'll tell you. No one is going to tell you, even in the government, that this council is for the government. They won't tell you that. They'll say, no, it's for the diaspora. So if it's a diaspora, why are we going to leave and go farm something else? That's counterproductive. Remember what I said. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just put on some new tires on the wheel. And, we never get to all of the things that we want to get to, but...
Big surprise.
Yeah. We were having fun with Hope, and Hope is a good sport, and we hope that she'll come back and things like that. But I mean, they tell Hope to run, but they never tell her read, you know. And then Hope said she read the thing, and then Hope try a little thing with me, you know, like when I ask her if she know it. And Hope said, no, you have it in front of you, you know it. I said, no, Hope. I ask you if you read it and if you know it. But Hope understand now. I'm sure she's going to talk to people, and people are going to tell her that. Oh, Ralpha. Yeah, that's a good question, Ralpha. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to, we never get a chance to go down that road, but that's a good question. No, they're not paid by the Jamaican government. They have to pay their expenses out of their pocket. So just imagine that you control the Northeast, because that's another thing that I would advocate for. That look, we need to take the Northeast and split that into like maybe 2 or 3 regions, because you can't have one person. You can't have one person running up and down and spending out of them pocket. It's not going to happen, and that's why we're not getting any representation. It's easy for them to just sit at home and take instructions from the government. That's all. Than to go out and say, okay, I'm going to go to Brooklyn this week. I'm going to go to Bronx next week. I'm going to set up some meeting, go to the churches, go to the community centers and talk to people, find out what their interests are, bring those to the fore, talk to the group, the council, and say, listen, we need to raise some funds to help some people over here and some people over there, raise some funds to help out Melissa. They don't have the funds to do that. But you see, if you're registered as a 501c3, guess what? You can raise funds and you can pay for people's expenses. You don't give them a salary, but you can pay for their expenses. And people be more enthusiastic about the position, because they know that, okay, it's not gonna broke me, you know, and I'm doing what I love. But them don't like a bone in a me. But the one thing I can tell you that they don't like me, they don't love me. But the one thing I can tell you about them when it comes to me is this: they respect the hell out of me. And that's all I can ask for. They don't have to love me, don't have to like me, just respect the hell out of me. You know, they used to have a commercial. So when E.F. Hutton, it was a financial house. When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Likewise, them come around here and them listen and them learn. Them come around here because they are not, you know, carry on. We speak truth to power. We speak facts to our people. And so they know what they're getting when they come around here. And they're afraid of that because they want a lackey. They want somebody who will just go along to get along. And that is not going to happen around here. That is not going to happen around here. Yeah, believe me, Jillian, because I've heard it from lots of people in government and outside of government that, listen, you know what, Art, you know the latest? Somebody said to me, you know what? They're at the government, people in the ministry, they're saying that, them say, you know, one man have them change all of the rules and I go through hoops and all of that. And I said to them, could you imagine if they made have 6 Rattigan? Could you imagine if they made have 6 Rattigan, what would happen to them? One man, right. Them are run round and I change rules and them have all kinds of meetings. And I hear meetings come up on is Rattigan. All right, Kevin, take us out, my brother.
Hey,
let's play the music.